Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you how to make an OP Mage Archer build in Oblivion Remastered. Now, mages are the best archetype of character in this game, but archers are also still pretty fun. As you can see there, with an arrow attack we can take out targets pretty quickly. We also got summons that can help tank for us, which will take a lot of the heat away from our character. And then on top of that, we can always just cast a little fireball to deal damage over time, which is also really nice to have on our side. So this is a good combination of everything, and it's got a lot of fun ways that you can play the game. So we'll be breaking down all the things that you need to know in order to make this as optimal as possible, knocking bears around with your fireball just like that. The nice part about a build like this is anytime that you go against an enemy that's got an elemental weakness, you got options other than your arrows. And since the bow takes a couple seconds to draw, it's nice to be able to, if there's an enemy that's close to being taken out, you can just go ahead with casting like a fire spell against them and it'll finish them off just like that. Now, as for the race or identity options, I think that the Breton is probably the best option here because they get a bonus to their overall spell casting, because they get a plus 50 magicka, which is actually pretty impactful, especially early on in the game. They also get a 50% resistance to magic energy, which is the most damage that you'll be probably taking in the game is magic, as most of the spellcasters that you go against are actually quite strong. So this is a great choice, one of the best races to play as. I also think that the Dark Elf is another great choice because they get fire resistance, which is a very common elemental damage type you'll be going against, obviously. And they also kind of focus on bow and sword as well as destruction magic, which is going to be a nice makeup of what we do. The High Elf's another great choice. They get a plus 100 to their magicka, which is very effective, but they also take 25% more damage from fire, frost, and shock. So on the opposite of the Breton, they take a bit more damage, although get more magic back. Now, the Wood Elf also got quite a nice buff in Oblivion, so they're another solid choice because they make for good archers. And since the movement speed is no longer tied to their height, they don't have that downside anymore. You honestly, though, play what you want to play. If you want to play a Redguard, go for that. Nords are cool because Skyrim. However, you don't go against cold damage as much as you do fire and lightning damage. Khajiits also make a great choice for a archer archetype as well, so that can be nice too. They also get a dark sight, but I would say the best ones are Breton, Dark Elf, even High Elf, and Wood Elf, but also, again, play what you want to play here. Now, for the Birthsign, there's a few that stand out a lot here. The Lady gives you more willpower, which increases your not only fatigue, but also the regeneration for your magicka, and Fortify Endurance is really nice. Because especially if you chose a Breton who has lower endurance, you're going to get a benefit of having more health. And endurance is going to be the most important stat in the game because it dictates how much health that you get, which is extremely important. Now, I'm a big fan of the Thief because you get a bonus to your agility, your luck, and your speed. Agility and luck being the biggest ones because luck takes a lot of points to level up. Every time you level up, you get 12 points to distribute to your different stats. Luck will take 4 points per additional point of luck, so that's 40 points, whereas every other stat only takes 1 point, so it's actually really hard to increase your luck. The Mage is nice for the plus 50 magicka, and the Warrior also great because this increases your endurance and strength. However, if you're going to go for a Fortify Endurance, it's probably best to go with the Lady for the increased willpower for better spell casting. But even, I wouldn't recommend the Apprentice. This gives you a weakness to magic, even though you get a plus 100 magicka. The Atronach here is actually another good choice because it does completely change the game. This is actually one of the best Birthsigns in the game because it's going to give you an increased 150 magicka, and you have a 50% chance of absorbing spells that are cast at you. Tied with the Breton, this actually gives you a plus 200 to your magicka and a huge chance of just not even taking damage from magic. However, you can't regenerate magic on your own, so you have to use potions, which could be a turn off to some people because it makes the willpower stat a little bit worse, or not even really that effective as it just regenerates your stamina. The Lover, the Serpent, the Tower, all not that great, in all honesty. The Lord, however, will increase your armor rating by 15 and increase magic resistance by 15%. This is also really good because you can get all your stats up to 100, but this just gives you a flat-out damage reduction, which is really nice. And same thing, Ritual here is not that great. And Steed, plus 20 movement speed, not good either. So, in essence, the Thief, the Warrior, the Lady, or the Lord, or the Atronach here are the best choices. Lord and the Atronach are probably the two best and give you some very cool ways to play the game. If you don't like chugging potions, then maybe not the Atronach, but you can get gear later on that'll help out with your magicka. Now, as for the class, the Witch Hunter is the closest one to being an actual like good class. However, I would recommend going to the custom class because we get much more benefits from doing it this way. So for our major specialization, magic or stealth are two best options here. Magic's it's just gonna give you a +5 bonus to all your stats in that school, and then also allow them to increase more rapidly. Stealth's probably gonna be the better choice, but you can go between the two of these. And then for attributes, I would recommend agility is going to increase the amount of damage you do with short swords, daggers, and bows, and increase your maximum fatigue. If you want, willpower will also increase your magicka and the regeneration rate, so those two can be good. Although luck, again, it's a hard skill to increase, so that can be a nice one. Just get that +5 bonus early on in the game, pretty nice. But endurance is the most important stat in the entire game. Giving you more maximum health and health regeneration, extremely useful. And intelligence will give you more overall magicka. So if you want to focus more on spellcasting, intelligence and willpower. If you want to be a good jack of all trades with lots of ability to get more more magicka and health, endurance and intelligence will be the best too. And if you want to increase your overall damage with bows, agility and luck is just a good one to go with. I think endurance and intelligence are the two best to start with here for this particular build, or endurance and agility. Now, as for the skills that we're going to be going with, now, I would not recommend athletics since you do it so frequently. It's not going to be one that you have to worry about leveling up because you're just going to run around everywhere. So this one will level up naturally on its own. Blade is not bad to have as a backup, but we're mostly going to be focused on going with more of the stealth based ones. So I like light armor personally. Heavy armor is better. However, you move a lot quicker with light armor, and it's just better for spell casting. And some of the light armor that you get in this game is actually really powerful. Marksman, enough said. I mean, you're going to increase your damage with bows, and that's what the whole purpose of using the bow is. It does a lot of damage. Sneak. You've heard of the infamous sneak archer or stealth archer. It comes from Skyrim, where it's more effective, but stealth here is still really nice because you can move around. Start off with a bow attack since it takes longer to draw your bow. So you go into sneak, do your bow attack for increased damage, and then start spell casting. So sneak is definitely one that we want to have. Speechcraft, not super useful. It allows you to persuade you listeners, which is okay, but we want light armor, marksman, and sneak here. Security is not even good either because you can get the skeleton key to override that. Now for our magic, conjuration and destruction are the two best schools in this game. So conjuration allows you to summon creatures and turn the undead. This is nice as you can summon in like a skeleton to help tank for you, and later on you get even better summons. And as for destruction, it's core principle of this. We're going to want to be able to deal damage from range. So destruction is extremely useful. You can also get a weaken ability to make it so that the enemy takes more damage too, which is extremely useful. And restoration. This is something we're going to be using the whole game because unless you like chugging potions all the time, you're going to want to heal yourself. And you do get some pretty useful healing spells in this game. So this allows you to restore, fortify, and absorb attributes. You'll get a lot of really great restoration spells throughout the game, but I think the two best in this are Conjuration, which has Oblivion Gate on it for a reason, and Destruction. You can also add in like Mysticism or Illusion if you'd like to. Even Alchemy can be kind of nice. The reason I have Blade here is just because it's nice to have a close range weapon at some point in the game. I just think it's fun to have Blades too as backup, kind of gives you a spell blade, but you don't have to take Blade. You could go with Mysticism here or Illusion. And then obviously we got Marksman, Light Armor, and Sneak. So that's that for our skills and putting this all together. We want to be focusing on having our summon up at all times because Conjuration is really good in this game. It gives them a target to focus on while we are able to get our attacks in. And what's nice about that is it just provides a bit of a distraction for us. Now, even at the start of the game, just by choosing the Conjuration, we're able to get the skeleton, which, while it's not super powerful, it's enough to be able to provide a bit of a tank for us. And you can see there, they were also using it against us too, so it's that good. So going against other mages is going to be the hardest thing for us, unless we're a Breton, because then we can absorb magic. We want to use a bit of kiting while also focusing on being able to get attacks in on the main target. So they have a Conjuration, which is actually going to kick my butt if I don't pay attention. Other mages can also heal, so anytime that we got any ability to drain magic on another spellcaster, that's going to be ideal. Now, we're going to be focusing on anytime that there's a magic user, it's probably best for us to focus on attacking with our bow, and then when we're against other enemies, we can just lob off the fireballs as we need to. As an archer, our best friend is the environment. So anytime that we're able to move around and then just distract them with the environment and get our attacks in while also hiding out is going to be ideal. Because the bow takes a few seconds to be able to draw it, so it's going to be useful, but it's better for us to use our magic to attack unless we're against something like this, who has a bit of a... he's able to absorb a bit of the magic there or not take as much damage from it as our bows. The nice thing about Oblivion is the game is a little janky, so you can see here he's just calling his summons in and trying to heal himself, but with that we were able to take him out no problem. So yeah, that is a powerful archer mage in Oblivion Remastered. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and I'll see y'all in the next video.